Have you ever stopped to think that maybe we're living in the aftermath of, well, an apocalypse that happened over 2,000 years ago? What if I told you our history isn't this straight line of constant progress? What if it's actually a series of forgotten futures, filled with brilliant ideas that just flickered into existence only to be totally lost for centuries?
Okay, let's just dive right into this with one single baffling artifact that seems to completely shatter the timeline of history as we know it. We are talking about a computer. But no, not from the 20th century. This one is from ancient Greece.
So back in 1901, some divers were exploring an ancient Roman shipwreck off the coast of a Greek island called Antikythera, and they found this corroded lump of bronze. For decades, nobody had a clue what it was, but then as scientists started peering inside it with X-rays, they uncovered something that was just impossible, a ridiculously sophisticated mechanical device, a clue from a world that was way more advanced than we ever imagined.
So, this device is now known as the Antikythera Mechanism, and it was a mind-bogglingly complex machine of interlocking gears. It was an analog computer built around 150 BC. And its purpose? Well, it was to track the movements of the sun, the moon, and the planets, and even predict solar and lunar eclipses. Now, to put that into perspective for you, technology this complex wouldn't be seen again on Earth for nearly 2,000 years.
But just look at this timeline. Do you see that huge empty space after the Antikythera mechanism was created? There's just a technological void, a great forgetting. Imagine if the internet just vanished tomorrow. 100 years from now, people might find a smartphone and think it was some kind of magical rock. That's the scale of the knowledge that was just gone.
But here's the thing. The mechanism isn't just a one-off fluke. It's really the first clue in a much larger and, frankly, a more disturbing pattern of technological amnesia that seems to run all through our history.
Let's take another example, Greek fire. This stuff was the superweapon of the Byzantine Empire. It was a liquid that could spray at enemy ships, and it would actually burn on water. It was nearly impossible to put out. Sure, we have modern things like napalm, but the exact recipe for the original Greek fire, it was kept so secret that eventually it was lost completely. And this paradox shows up even in something as basic as building materials. The Romans built concrete structures like the Pantheon and the Colosseum that have been standing for 2 millennia. Their concrete could literally heal itself. Our modern concrete, on the other hand, cracks and needs to be replaced in maybe 50 to 100 years. We only just recently figured out their secret. For centuries, we were building things that were just objectively worse.
So it all leads to the big question, right? Why? Did we forget these incredible technologies? This is the real mystery. Was it just a string of bad luck? Or was this knowledge actively suppressed or maybe even destroyed? This whole line of questioning leads us to an incredible what-if scenario. What if these moments of forgetting weren't just little setbacks, but catastrophic wrong turns for human history? What if we were right on the verge of a future we never even got to have?
Think about the Library of Alexandria. This wasn't just a bunch of scrolls. It was the intellectual heart of the ancient world. It held scientific papers, histories, and who knows, maybe even the blueprints for technologies we can only dream of. When it was destroyed, how many potential futures, how many industrial revolutions were just lost in those flames?
It is an absolutely staggering thought. If the knowledge from Alexandria had actually survived and spread, if steam engines, which, by the way, the Greeks were already tinkering with, had been developed 2,000 years earlier, it is not an exaggeration to think that we might be colonizing other galaxies by now. Instead, we got a dark age.
And look, this isn't just about the ancient past. This whole pattern forces us to look at our own time with a pretty healthy dose of humility. Is our current technological boom just another peak? Are we just riding another wave that's about to crash?
This brings us to a concept I like to call the Fermi paradox on Earth. You've probably heard of the original paradox, right? If aliens exist, where's everybody? Well, our version is, if advanced human societies could have existed thousands of years ago, where's all the evidence? And the implication is really unsettling. It means progress is not inevitable, it's fragile, and it can absolutely be lost.
So what this really forces us to do is completely reevaluate our whole idea of progress. Maybe we aren't standing at the absolute pinnacle of human achievement. Maybe we're just riding the crest of the latest wave in a very, very long ocean of knowledge gained and knowledge lost.
Which, of course, makes you wonder what knowledge we might be losing right now. What skills or technologies from our own time are going to be mysterious artifacts to the people of the future? So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Of all the lost knowledge from history, what lost technology amazes you the most?